Good afternoon, listeners. We've got a very special broadcast for you today. It's cooking week here at the station, and today's episode is going to be full of recipes and kitchen tips and tricks. I quite enjoy the kitchen myself. I am something of a hobbyist chef, if I do say so myself. Of course, in the world we're in, it's so easy to get caught up in the rush and turn to fast food, especially when so much of it is so very delicious. I swear, it's as though Taco Bell will never bring back those amazing chicken bacon ranch flatbread sandwiches from 2011. This is a hill I will die on. It was the best food Taco Bell has probably ever had. And while they're at it, they should bring back the Boss Nachos. Those were very good too. But as far as home-cooked food goes, I prefer a bit heartier of a meal. Soups and stews and casseroles and even a good old-fashioned meat pie. And that is why we're dedicating this entire broadcast to the culinary arts. My studio kitchen is a lovely place to learn to cook a warm meal. It is fully stocked and prepared for use in exactly these kinds of events. I'm going to take you to a quick pre-recorded advertisement, and then we'll get right into it. If you melt ice cream, does that make it soup? Is microwaved Rocky Road considered stew? Do these ideas make you angry? Do they make you happy? Join the Ice Cream is Soup Society, a group of people who strongly believe that if you melt ice cream in any way, shape, or form, it becomes soup or stew. If you are not with us, you are against us. Rocky Road is my favorite stew. Join us. Alright, listeners, for our first pieces of cooking advice today, we're going to be talking about soup. Despite being made mostly of liquid, a good soup is full of flavor. We'll use lots of spices and the right cooking techniques to ensure our soup today has tons of flavor and isn't bland or boring at all. I'm here in the studio kitchen with my stock pot ready, and the first thing I'm going to do is gather up some ingredients for our soup. I've got some onions, some potatoes, some carrots, and what is that? What is that? Listeners, there's a small creature loose in my kitchen. Is that a ferret? I think it is. What are you doing? Put that spoon down. Come back here. You can't... Listeners, while I take care of this, let me take you to the pre-recorded section of the show. Lesson 1. Put it in the oven. See these frozen fish sticks? Oven. No, I know it says on the back you can microwave them, and you can, and they'll be edible, and if all you have is 5 minutes or you don't have an oven, that's fine, but if you want them to taste good, trust me. Lesson 2. Adding flavor. Got pasta but no sauce? Just want to make literally anything taste better? Okay, here's what you're going to do. Peel an onion. That part's self-explanatory, but not always as easy as it sounds. Then cut off either end. You'll want to use a non-serrated or smooth knife that's big enough to cut through the entire onion without giving you trouble. Cry a little. This gives you a solid base to keep cutting so that you're not cutting into a sphere, which is dangerous. Cut the onion in half. Cry some more. Now lay it on its flat side and cut against the grain. As a very famous man once said, onions have layers, and our goal here is to cut through those layers, not alongside them. If you've never done this before, stop being afraid. You've got this. Now you'll need a pan and some form of fat. Butter is going to add the most flavor, but any oil will also work. But butter is better. A tablespoon of butter or oil will do. The butter will make it taste better, though. Okay, now take your last onion crying break. Turn your pan on medium-high with the butter in it. Let it melt most of the way. If you're using oil, let it get hot, but be careful not to let it burn. Never use water if your oil catches fire. If fire happens in a pan, your best bet is to put a lid on it and turn the burner off. Different oils have different smoke or burn temperatures, so it's best to know what kind of oil you're using and what those temperatures are. Just use butter, it'll taste better anyways. Add in your onion. It will sizzle, but it's okay. It's not crying out in pain, it's an onion. They don't feel pain. It'll start to cook down. Onion shrinks when it cooks. Your onion will continue to cook down, getting caramelized and delicious. You can add almost anything to this and it'll be absolutely delicious. For instance, I made some minute rice. I can add my minute rice to this onion butter mix and it'll be delicious. Some salt, maybe a little cheese, some chicken, some fish sticks if I have them. You can also add more vegetables to the onion mix in the beginning. If you do choose to add rice, it's best to cook it a day early. Rice tends to get squishy if you cook it twice. For instance, if I tried to boil some minute rice and then to fry it. So it's best to put it in the fridge for a day and then try to fry it the next day. You can also add this onion mixture to pasta. It makes the pasta taste delicious. If you're feeling really brave, you can even chop a few potatoes, put them in a pan with some butter, and then add some onion. Most times you'll want to put the potatoes in the pan first because they cook more slowly than the onion. A few things that could go wrong. Having the burner on high. Different stoves are different, but you'll probably want to start out at medium-high if you're still learning. Setting off the smoke alarms. This will alert the authorities to your presence, which you don't want. Do you want to go to jail? Don't set the alarms off. Burning the fat before you have the onion in the pan. If you're using butter, you can just wait until it's almost melted. If you're using oil, just give it a minute, put your hand over the pan to see if you can feel the heat. Oil also pops, so butter is just really your best bet here. Summoning the being made of butter smoke. Be careful if you use butter how it's arranged in the pan as it's melting. You don't want to accidentally make a sacrifice to the being made of butter smoke. He is mean. You will not enjoy having lunch with him. And that's all for...
Hello, Little Rock. This is Big Rock speaking. It's important you don't know our individual real voices or names, so we created this message to you, semi-anonymously. We had no idea you existed until our radio host made a big mistake. Not all of us were eradicated, but it's really different here now. Please keep an eye on your radio host. You have no idea how important he is. His mistakes could doom you all. You can't trust Victor.
Listeners, I've managed to capture the ferret. He politely, using a series of squeaks and his tiny little hands, asked that I let him go. I was curious enough to try it, and he appears to be making soup. He actually seems to know what he's doing, so I haven't stopped him yet. He's got some spices, tomatoes. He really seems to have a good idea of how soup works. And he's really adorable, too. Oh, he's bringing me a spoon. Is his soup finished? Let me see here. Oh, it's fantastic. This might be the best soup I've ever tasted. And it was made by... Little guy, this is incredible. I mean, I can't imagine how many food safety rules this is breaking, but it's truly the best soup I've ever had. And now he's cleaning the kitchen? Let me help him, and while I do that, let me take you all to the weather. Well, listeners, we've reached the end of our strange but hopefully informative special broadcast today, and as I watched the sun set through my studio window... Wait. The ferret followed me to my desk, and he's a radio host, too? Well, little guy, give it a shot. Send them off. And as always, stay tuned.